Today's episode of the Watson Weekly Podcast is sponsored by Commerce Tools.
Make sure your brand and your business is ready for the trillion-dollar e-commerce market. Commerce Tools, the global leader in commerce and creator of the powerfully composable Mock architecture, can help you achieve bite-sized wins or upsized achievements faster than ever. Whether you are looking to reduce maintenance costs for legacy systems or put the power of AI to work for you quickly, Commerce Tools is your partner for commerce success. Go to commercetools.com to learn how to get started.
It's May 13th, 2024, and this is the Watson Weekly, your essential e-commerce digest. Today on our show, the fall and fall of Peloton, Forrester's new wave report, what's on my mind about digital evolution. But first, in our shopping cart full of news. Well, actually, you aren't going to hear the normal episode today. I just wanted to speak directly to you for a moment. First, I wanted to thank you for supporting me and listening. When I started this journey, I wasn't sure anyone would listen at all. What I would have to say, if you would like this podcast and get any value from it, feel free to drop me a note and with the reason why at rick@rmwcommerce.com. I would love to hear from you. There are really 3 items this week that I thought would be interesting to talk about. First, Peloton CEO Barry McCarthy is out, and the company is doing another 15% of layoffs. This is a sad story. I give the founder of Peloton, CEO John Foley, a ton of credit to get to this point. Unfortunately, it's extremely difficult to create a brand. It's even more difficult to create a brand that is so loved. He did the hardest thing you can do in business. Start a hardware business and a content business at the same time, and in particular, a vertically integrated one. People think Peloton should just be in content and that would be a great business are kidding themselves. The connected fitness aspect was the vision. Connected content is not a vision, that's a hallucination. And there is already a solution there. It's called YouTube and TikTok that no one has any business competing with. Also, by the way, a masterclass app for fitness is not so interesting a business. John Foley met with hundreds of investors and was denied over and over. The guy then started a Kickstarter to fund the first bikes. That is passion, and best wishes to John on his new venture. And personally, I have no idea why he would start a rug company or Nesta, but I know John is out there attacking with every fiber of his being. Second, a new Forrester report came out. In the business-to-consumer sector, there's no leader, just an elephant, as in the elephant in the room. Just think about that for a moment. Forrester has declared there is no market leader. The rationale for this is that none of the individual functions provided by the platforms outpace the application partners for that same function. Is that really the standard? What's the point of that? I think when we're evaluating platforms, we really need to get back to basics about why, as vendors, we spend money on analyst reports. We spend money because we think they will help buyers. If your vision for the market and how a buyer makes decisions doesn't align with the analyst writing the report, does that make sense? Look, Gartner is Gartner. It's not doing too much better than Forrester at the moment. At least they pick some winners, even if their methodology doesn't make that much sense either. And of course, look, it's easy to me for bash analysts, and I've taken a couple of shots. But I wanted to give you some perspective that I'm not against analysts per se. I am, however, against methodologies that makes no sense and don't serve the needs of buyers. I have heard some of the analyst relation people at vendor platforms, and particularly one of the top platforms who reminded me some buyers are using these reports. And it could be kind of a problem. I actually think we need to do better. On the positive side, I do want to give props to one person, and that person is Heather Hershey at IDC. Her reports are unique, thorough, and differentiated, probably the best I see in the industry at this time. And finally, I want to talk about evolution. And I also wanted to provide you an update on RMW Commerce and what we're doing here. Primarily, we're advisors. We help provide an outside perspective for vendors and merchants on their businesses. That outside perspective is designed to be a trusted sounding board as companies navigate difficult decisions. We're currently in a market where there are a lot of difficult decisions to be made. In essence, I find companies in one of 2 modes. First, survival mode. This mode is a week-to-week existence. In the worst-case scenario, You have stopped paying bills, you have built a 13-week cash flow, and you're living hand to mouth. Transformation is impossible. In this mode, you have one big bet to make. Make it count. Mode 2 is transformation. You need to change, but you have time to experiment, learn, and find your company's next act. This next act includes a few new things. First, you might change your pricing model. Conceptually, this is simple, but actually it's quite difficult. Your customers could revolt. Another type of transformation is to sell new products to your current customers. If you're in a growing market segment and have an opportunity to get better share of wallet, this is the easiest way to expand. Examples of this include upsells and cross-sells. You could also sell your existing products to new customers. In this case, you may need to learn a new go-to-market motion. New customers have different behaviors and motivations. Examples of this include moving into a more lucrative segment than your current one. It's also harder than it seems and could take months or years depending on how much you know about this new market. The hardest type of transformation overall is to sell new products to new customers. In this case, you're essentially starting a new business, but sometimes it's not so easy to admit that to yourself. Most of the companies that RMW Commerce is working with right now is in one of these general buckets. They're either narrowly focused on survival or actively focused on reinventing their business in some way. If you find yourself needing help in the commerce space with some of these challenges, we're always happy to listen and provide advice, even if you never become a customer of RMW Commerce. Reach out on LinkedIn, send me a text, whatever works for you. Also, if you haven't heard, we have a new podcast. And if you're listening on audio, it's called The Watson Weekend. Just search for it and subscribe. Trust me, if you like this podcast, The Watson Weekend is even better. There's also even another idea for a show we're going to launch later this year as well. Again, thank you for listening and hope you have a great start to your week. That's all for this week. Till next time, Watsonians. Hi, I'm Rick Watson, CEO and founder of RMW Commerce Consulting and host of the Watson Weekly Podcast, your essential e-commerce digest. Our production partner for the series is Citizen Race Car. The show is produced by Jose Baez. Production manager, Gabriela Montequin. To hear new episodes of the show every Monday morning, subscribe now at rmwcommerce.com/WatsonWeekly and wherever you get your podcasts.